Welcome to Marilyn Hawes. And the week I thought was cooling off. And then it happened, and it's all in happening over weekend, but especially today. And we're going to cover some of those things. But I'll tell you what, before we do, we're flying all over the world and we're covering a diversity, hate the word, but I've used it now, of subjects. The first of all is your favourite lady, Bridget Phillipson, is now determined to kill off all private schools. She's got rid of 50, including special needs schools.
Well, that's what annoys me. Really, I find that heartbreaking because, as you know, I now have a special needs granddaughter who's only little now. But what's it gonna look for her in years to come and others? I mean, this is why when you go into classrooms now, in ordinary mainstream schools, there's so much disruption in some of the classes because there are so many children with special needs and autism and neurodiverse issues that always have had special send schools, special educational needs departments, and a lot of those schools. I mean, they may be only tiny, but we had this debate. I had this debate with my son yesterday. I mean, his wife is fuming that he voted Labour. And so we really gave him a bad time over lunch yesterday. And I said, tell me why you think it's so good. And I said about these schools. And he said, oh, well, it's blah, 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 going on. I said, stop trying to justify yourself. I said, I work in schools, Mike. And I said, I can assure you that some of these schools, even like when I go to regularly, I'm training the parents again this week. He takes in a lot of special needs kids as well as very, very bright children and does a real thing for education. But the other ones, yes, and you're right, a lot of those that have had to close are special needs. And now I think I'm right in saying she wants to charge, is it 3 times the amount to have Ofsted in? Isn't that right for private
That's
schools?
exactly right. Basically, the backstory of this, of course, is that they want to get rid of any private education because it interferes with the state and Marxist model that they're
Oh,
following.
well, this is it, and it's screamingly obvious. I mean, I went to a private school, but I mean, this was the whole idea of the grammar school system. Who scraps the grammar school system? I can't remember that because who did? Because you took the 11 plus, didn't you? And off you went. And if you are bright, then you want those people to be able to achieve, and you put them in the melee of everybody else. When he was going on about, which again I was talking to my son and his wife about, when he was going on about, or she was going on about white children from deprived places are not doing so well. But I am sorry, look at some of the parents. Some of the parents do not aspire to good education. They do not encourage the children. They are aggressive at the school gates. They're aggressive with the staff. They're not, the bedrock of that child is not looking good. I mean, some of these children you see, you think they haven't got a prayer when you look at the parenting and the parents that are just not bothered about anything really. And that's it's not just where they are born, it's to whom they are born, and those people that don't embrace the real need for education. I mean, you look at children in Africa and India and all these places where there is real hardship. Those kids in Africa, they go to school with very white shirts on. They are absolutely, they love their learning. It is a privilege to be educated as we are. And the children need to learn that respect.
You're
But
right. You're absolutely
but what
right.
she hasn't done, is that the independent schools have their own inspectorate. They have ISI, Independent Schools of Inspections, so they don't need to use Ofsted anyway. So I don't see, they've got their own system.
No, the backdrop, as we've mentioned on many occasions, is that the government wants VAT from everybody. So this is the way of getting it because it'll give you 6,000 more teachers, not one
No,
to be
no,
traced.
no. I mean, and then it's if you have money, why shouldn't you pay for a school? Why?
Exactly that. That's why I mentioned the dreaded word, but the factual word of Marxism in all.
Exactly right. That's what it
Now,
is.
I come from both sides of the track, and that's a nice way of putting it. And I understand both points of view. I in my 11 plus year at a normal school uh, was absent for the whole year when it was practice exam time. And then the most important time if you wanted to go to grammar school. And I was off. I got dysentery. You try having dysentery for 12 months, not the best thing to have. And in those days, it was serious. So you're not spreading that around, mate, or anything like it. You stay at home. So it was a disaster. So I did take my LM plus and failed miserably. And they sent me to a secondary modern school, which was in the centre of Manchester in a bad area. So I've experienced the bullying,
Mm,
the bad teaching, the leftovers, and
mm,
then my parents were in a position to send me to a private school. They rescued me and they had to pay for this, but it still had to have an examination to get in.
mhm.
And it was a healed private school for the well-heeled. Now, surprisingly, they told me I came top of all the examinees to get in there. So the secondary modern school, as it was, that didn't do me much harm. I don't know. Perhaps it was a fluke day, but I was not a very good scholar, never have been. Better things to do than go to school. Anyway, I got in there and I had a very, very good education, way ahead of, if you like, the opportunities. But that was money, but money well spent. By the way, not the same issue. Interesting figures published last week, and that still from your top private education comes your top doctors, your top MPs, your top architects. So they must be doing something
Vets.
right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it is still possible to get. I knew a boy who went to a terrible school in Southampton, and he is now, well, he's probably retired now, but he was really right up there in the top brass, trying to do research in cancer research. And he came through a terrible secondary school. My kids went to a secondary school, and you think I've got two actuarial sons. My daughter worked extremely close with Sheikh Mohammed for 7 years in Dubai. She's now a vice president of strategic communications for a private bank in Bermuda. My other son is top of public affairs for the whole of the GP across McDonald's. And he's won a President's Award and has just come back from Chicago. So they went all their life, they went to ordinary schools. And I still say, if you are a bright kid and you work with the teacher and your parents work with the teacher, a teacher doesn't want anything better than a bright child with committed parents, and they will push that child to reach its potential. So, unfortunately, though, sometimes when you're in those situations, you have the disruptors in the class as well, which where the classes are so big. So, but I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to go to a private school because you get smaller classes, so you get more attention to your child. I really worry that they are trying to make this a country of all mixed brown people with mediocre education.
Well, it's dumbing down and not dumbing up. That's absolutely
Absolutely right.
guaranteed. So there we are. Bridget is going ahead and towing the party line. And I'm sorry, it doesn't work. It never
No,
has
it doesn't.
worked. Um, there are other ways out of your demise, for bad luck mainly, or because you've got something physically, mentally wrong with you. There are other ways and other opportunities for taking exams again, for going to the old-fashioned term, night school, and making yourself what you should be and realizing your potential. But do your parents realize the potential? That's the key, isn't
It
it?
is absolutely key. You cannot get away from it. Parenting is key. You cannot get away from it. You are there to, you've been giving this, I look at it a bit like gardening. You're given a little sapling and you have to guide, if that sapling is going to be a tree, if you don't put a stake and let it grow against that stake and then develop into an upright tree, it's the same sort of thing. You can't let a little sapling or anything that's young and new, you can't just let it go wild. And that's what some of the kids are. They're feral. They've had no discipline in the home. They've got no understand. They've got no respect, and that's the trouble. Whose fault is that? It's not the children.
No, complex problems. We do try and solve problems. Not always, but at least it gives people a taster. I'm thinking about you. If anybody should, and your children have been in the lower echelon of life, it's you. I mean, people know because of who you are, what you do, that you were abused by your husband terribly.
Yeah,
I'm going to tie this up with what happened this weekend with the celebration, because it was, in some senses of the word, of Charlie Kirk, and not only for his lifestyle, but for his widow that almost came apart when she apologized in the terms of "I've forgiven him." Now, I remember, and before we started today, the Inniskilling affair where there was forgiveness there again. Um, there are a lot of Christians in Northern Ireland, so it wasn't unexpected. There's a lot of Christians in the United States of America compared
hmm
to Britain as a whole. And although it was very difficult for her to get these words out, it was genuine.
it was genuine.
You found this, haven't you?
I found it because, I didn't really sort of think about it as sort of a problem of conscious thinking, if you like. Because I'm a Christian, and and it is actually that faith that got me through, knowing that my children had been abused, and and even when I was domestically abused, and I was trying to get everything sorted to leave. And in the end, I made up my mind that I'm not well enough yet to go off and get my own house and all of that. And it will happen in time, in God's own time, it will happen, and it will happen in the right order. And it did. So I stopped worrying about things because I thought you have to give it over to God and say, like, this will happen. And you can't push against it because somebody greater than you knows what's doing. But I went to see my priest, and I just happened to randomly say, how will I know if I've ever forgiven him? I mean, having abused my three children and others that were on, in that circuit around the school. And my priest said to me, I'm really pleased you said that because a lot of people will say, I will never forgive. And he said, having the abuse or the death of your children is one of the hardest, well, probably the hardest thing to forgive. And some people never forgive. They try, but they never do. They don't probably pray about it. They don't, you don't look at the things that cause this demise in your life. And I'm not making excuses for anybody that abuses, but if you don't forgive, then it does eat away at you, and it does cause bitterness. It does cause spite, and it liberates you. And I said to the priest, I said, well, he said, what's happened to you is awful and it's the worst thing, and you may never forgive him. And I said, but how will I know if I have? And he said, you'll never forget what this person did. Fine, but it's how you remember. And if you remember with bitterness and spite and anger, you still haven't forgiven. If you're still saying, I wish him dead, I wish I'd killed him or whatever, you still haven't forgiven him. So when you forgive, you actually let go. You are liberated, but because not forgiving, I think, is sort of like the work of the devil, really. He tries to keep you under his control so that you become a very distorted version of yourself. And, I have absolutely no anger, no bitterness to my ex-husband. I actually gave a eulogy at his funeral. There's no point in holding these grudges and this spite because it's like a cancer. It will eat away at you. And it's forgiveness is extremely important. Real forgiveness is extremely important in my view, but then that's part of my faith. I mean, I just think we are called to forgive, and we want people to forgive us. We're not perfect beings. We don't like people having a grudge against us. So, do as you would be done by.
You're right. And let's move on to the National Trust. from the
Oh,
sublime to the sublimer. Yes. And it's actually concerning Motterstone Manor, which we know very well. It's on the Isle of Wight,
mm,
and we've lived there for 25 years. And lovely place, lovely people. And I always worry about the kids when you're taking kids around this mortal coil, how they're going to be received at school, as an example. What's the new locals going to be like? And I thought, oh, it's a bit of a cut-off community. But I tell you what, we've lived in many places where it's been difficult at times. Wales, I'll mention one, although this is not getting at the Welsh because the vast majority are brilliant, generous people. But you've got a certain section there that don't like the English.
that's
The
right.
area, you could even level that against Devon and Cornwall, people tell me, in
Oh
certain
yeah, if you
parts,
if you
and
have
indeed Scotland. But I tell you what, we went to the Isle of Wight with the locals there. We've never felt anything like that. They were welcoming. Maybe because they'd not been given the power of the Welsh and the Scots to have their own independence. There's a lot in that statement, I'll tell you. And they push it and have pushed it, and it's coming back to bite them in recent years,
Mm,
of course. But whatever it is, they were lovely people. And there's lots of shrines on the Isle of Wight. Queen Victoria's
hmm.
holiday cottage,
Yeah.
which is a magnificent palace. Must go and see that
That's
every
beautiful.
time you're there.
Beautiful.
It's something very special.
Yeah.
In fact, the little Wendy house that she built for the kids in the garden is bigger than most people's house.
It's stunning, isn't it? It's the
Worth
Swiss,
going to
it's
see
called the
that.
Swiss doll's house, isn't it? And you say, yes, it's bigger than, I think it's bigger than where I'm living now.
Well, basically, what's happened there, the National Trust several decades ago took this over, as they do with other castles and manor houses, and they asked for volunteers for the gardens because that's the major part. I mean, we've done filming there, been part of the scene. We know it very well. And there's 13 gardeners retired, giving their days and nights to gardening
And
there.
there's a lot to garden there.
There's a lot to go. And they've stopped them. And you dig and try and find out why. I needn't tell you that this is another woke situation. The National Trust have been completely taken over by these lefty clowns and impose lots of things, even cutting off their nose to spite their faces. Now, something has gone on. One of the gardeners, maybe with a sense of humour, has mentioned to one of the customers, "Oh, we don't do things like this on the alibi," as a joke, and it's been got to the head office,
Oh,
and they stop them, and all they will say is we're putting you on pause, which is a permanent pause. Thank you for your services, but you don't obey our rules about DEI is the bottom of this, diversity, equality, etc. And they've got rid of them. Now, it's going to cost them a fortune to
yeah.
replace that with paid, and they're not going to get the quality of a
Absolutely ridiculous because they won't. And also, these volunteers, they haven't been told why they've gone. They've just been dismissed. No one has said, they haven't even, I don't believe, even had a thank you for the time they've given. I mean, it is unprofessional, unbelievable. And these charities, I was manager of a charity shop for a cancer charity, right? And I got, oh God, I mean, I literally worked so hard and I made £250,000 in 2 years net profit for them. And I really valued my volunteers. I could not have done that job without the volunteers. I was the only paid person. I had a whole list of volunteers on a rota basis, and I treated them like they were actually employed, but by the, because there is that you do adhere to the rules and regulations. But did anybody tell these volunteers about DEI? It's absolutely ridiculous. And it will be the older generation that are being employed who don't know all this stuff that goes on, wokey stuff that goes on. It's utterly ridiculous. And they will struggle and they will suffer for it because there'll be other people who think will jump ship just because they've read that in the paper and think, is that what's coming down the line? It's ridiculous. Absolutely. I couldn't believe it when I read it. Couldn't believe it.
It is sad. And if you look at the recent years with trusts such as the National Trust, their prices have soared something
Oh,
rotten.
it's
And
unbelievable.
it's all part of it
Yes.
because of
Yeah.
this going on. And,
Yeah.
you know, be woke, go woke, and go broke. Absolutely.
But it, it's becoming like English heritage as well. It's elitist because most people can't afford it. You would have to make it affordable. You would have to keep if you say if you buy a family ticket and you that lasts you for a whole year. So you go, but you've got to go a lot to that same place to make it worthwhile. Or, I mean, I prefer, frankly, I prefer English Heritage to National Trust. But even so, it's expensive. You've got to drive or get somehow, they're not on your doorstep. And they're not, if they're not careful, they'll price themselves out the market because a ticket for a family of four is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And then when you get there, everything like coffees, ice cream, crikey, hasn't that gone up?
They're
Um,
both as bad, to be frank,
yeah, they know they are.
Trust
They
and
are.
English
They
heritage.
are. They are.
And it's because of the elites again.
It
These
is,
are
and
the people.
it's becoming a very, very much a middle class, both of them middle class charities, really, and mid to high earners only can afford it, really.
Which moves
It's
on to more blood pressure raising. And it's my own fault. I won't learn. But when I've got a bit of time, oh, go on, it can't be as bad as that. I'll watch Country File. That was Sunday afternoon again, even though I know it's the most woke program on this. And so many BBC programs are.
yeah,
I
yeah, they
mean,
are.
even the sea rescue program, when the RNLI go on and rescue there. In this case, and in many other cases, when they put cameras on a boat, I'm thinking of the Queen Elizabeth big aircraft carrier and the Prince of Wales, our prime shipping. And you would think the whole place is run by women. Well, I'm sorry, if you look at 1900, you've got 90, I mean, I'm exaggerating, 1900 men and 100 women. That's fine. Uh, Women are far better at certain things, and men are far better at certain things.
We're just different.
Well, exactly. But when you've got the women thing pushed back to country file, and what's going on there is that uh, it's not the women thing this week, which it usually is, I've got to say, is they did a program on the Solway Firth, which is quite famous. It's got some sea salt pasture lands there.
All right.
Cows go on it, and it's got some fantastic environmental things. The dreaded natterjack toad. And I mean, what it is for one of these ugly monsters, but oh, the natterjack, we can't spoil that. Well, it's gone crackers because they were highlighting the fact that, oh, wait a minute, there's a sapling growing there in the field. It should be grass. So they're all busy cutting these saplings down. What are you doing that for? It's natural. Oh, well, it'll stop this breed going on and breeding, and it'll do this for the environment. Hang on, nature knows better than we do.
It's true.
And if a sapling goes, yes, it'll introduce other species. It's normal. It's life as the world turns. Not for these eco loons,
Yeah.
bless
Yeah.
that want to control everything. It must be the same. Think about the following. If somebody had said that to the Norfolk Broad area,
Yeah.
you can't dig that peat up because you'll ruin the whole place.
Yeah.
It's made the whole place. It's
Yes.
beautiful
That is.
place
It
to
is.
go. Let
It,
things happen naturally,
well,
please.
it is. I mean, nature is absolutely amazing. I mean, I like watching, I do love watching Sky Nature and programs like that and how it is stunning to watch how the mating things that they do and how they rear their young and how and some animals like the gorillas and the chimpanzees and all that, the love they show for their young. You could learn an awful lot by watching animal life. Really could. I mean, but yeah, and I mean, nature does sort out nature. I quite agree with you. That's what is so extraordinary about it. That's why it's so wonderful that you have the four seasons and they come round and it's I like the four seasons actually. I do like it. I do. I particularly like autumn. I think the colours, like today, it's blue skies and sun, and the autumn leaves. I like it.
Yes,
There's a
I
feeling,
and we miss that in South
yeah,
Australia
and
because
there's a
we've not got
feeling
any
that I
defined
always,
seasons as
I
such.
always think this time of year, there's a feeling that things are going to sleep.
Yeah.
You get that feeling. Even the birds are not as chirpy. I like it. I like it.
There you go. I referred, by the way, to programs about the RNLI and bless them, the place of ladies there. What I mean, to be more exact, is that they will always have a lady on the lifeboat, even a small rubber duck type lifeboat, the inshore rib that will get to places with three or four crew on, and perhaps they pick up a couple of casualties, but there's always got to be a woman on board. And I'm sorry, you will never see that lady pull a survivor out of the water.
No, but they
Believe
have
you
got
me,
good
it's
mouth. Yeah.
impossible. It takes at least, with wet clothes on the survivor, 2 and 3 men to do that.
It's an extraordinary program, though. I think, how do people get into these
It
messes?
it it has improved, I've got to say, since again they've allowed footage from the attached camera on the life
Yes,
crew.
yes. But
Because previously in other episodes it's been completely manufactured and it's false. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
in our boating career, we've actually rescued quite a few people ourselves.
yeah. I'm
We
sure.
know
I'm
what it,
sure.
we
I'm
know what
sure.
it's like, and we've got there depends on the sea conditions before the lifeboat.
Oh, it's
Now, we've been in trouble, I've got to say, by the RNLI for getting there early because they wanted to do this. Oh, I'm in hot water here, and they wanted to rescue it. Well, I'm not prepared to see somebody about to
I
drown
know. I
to
mean,
be
no,
rescued.
you
Well, you
can't.
help
You
them.
can't. No, you can't. You just jump in and do it, whatever you've got to do. But I
Yes,
think I think it's awful that the RNLI and air ambulance are not paid for by government. I think it's an essential service at RNLI. I mean, my friend's son and a couple of other people I know would have died had it not been for air ambulance. And I think it's awful that that is not part of, government funding. I really do. It's all done on donations,
a
isn't it?
voluntary basis it is. There's arguments on both sides. The unpopularity in certain areas of RNLI, unfortunately, has been increased by the boat people coming over the channel, because the first persons there are RNLI in a so-called rescue situation. Well, you can view that from two levels.
Line up the frigates and push them back.
Yes. In a word, we better move on before we get in more trouble. And something that I know both of us feel very strongly about, and it's happened today, although we knew it would happen, and it's been brewing up for years, and especially since Donald Trump came over, it was deliberately by Mr. Sir Keir Starmer. Wait till Donald gets back, and then we can announce that we support the Palestinians. And that's an act of cowardice, in my humble opinion. And if he knew, and his advisors, and I'm sure they do, know the reality of the situation over there,
Ugh.
it's disgraceful.
It is disgraceful because I mean, also I read at the weekend that I don't know if this is true because you never know, do you, whether it's true or not, but it will cost us trillions in compensation.
Well, the lawyers are there again, aren't they? And goodness only knows what will happen. That's
But
another major problem that's blown up this week in various.
but why would we be responsible for compensation? I mean, I don't understand it. Where's that? But also the fact that now means Hamas can have an embassy in London. Oh, happy days.
Yes, we're all looking forward to that event.
I mean, what is wrong with him? I mean, I just don't. I don't understand what he has for a brain, quite honestly.
Well, I'll tell you what is wrong with him. It's very simple. Like most people in his position, he wants to preserve his premiership. And
He's
the
not
only way
preserving it, is he?
well,
He's
the
not.
only way he's going to do that is to keep his backbenchers happy. And it's them that are the lefties that always follow this Hamas deal. Oh, these poor kids. Yes, they've got to be sorted out. But who is causing that?
Mm,
Hamas are. They're
exactly.
putting them in the front line. This is the most evil
It
organization.
is awful. And there was a Hamas leader said the other day that it won't make any difference because they're going to keep going. It's their ideology. Nothing's going to change.
It saves it all, but the only people that are really rejoicing about this, and the first out to say so, is Hamas.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Exactly. And they must absolutely. I mean, I mean, and Trump is not stupid. I mean, I think, I know a lot of people don't like him, but I do think sometimes when things are critical, I think in terms of that, I think he's absolutely excellent. And the way he's sorted out his migrant issue and he won't it's going to be very interesting to see the relationship between us and America, where he is the complete polar opposite to what Starmer's done. He absolutely does not want it to be a state. So where does that leave us then in our wonderful relationship with America?
You wonder, don't you? I'll tell you what else we wonder about, actually. Going back sideways, as it were, to our problems in Britain, and that is Rachel Reeves, who is about to announce, we understand, the new budget in about 7 weeks' time, isn't it? A bit less. And it will go for the middle, non-Labour voting middle class again. And if you are an old age pensioner,
It's
watch
terrible.
it because the word is out there, and how far she will go, time will tell, that you are going to be taxed.
I
So as a
mean, we've already
pensioner,
paid tax. That's what get. I had another this is yesterday's conversation with my son because he did a politics degree and he's into political stuff, right? He goes into Downing Street and stuff like that and talks to the agricultural people and everything. And you know, I said to we have paid and we have worked hard all our lives. When people did work, they didn't do 4-day weeks at home. We actually worked. Sometimes we did two jobs. We did anything not to be on benefits. Isn't that right? You know, how many mothers would do a job during the day and a cleaning job in the evening, anything not to be on benefits? And then to tax us, I think it's outrageous. I really do. And I said to my son, it's just not right. We have paid into a system that is now giving us a pension. So we've already been taxed on it. It's dreadful. I mean, I don't know what she thinks she's doing because you got rid of the people that was it the non-dom tax or something. She's pushed all away all the people that might have been tempted to invest and not just invest but buy things within here that brings in taxes, spend a lot of money here, and she's pushed them all away. All she says is what every Labour government does: tax, tax, tax. It's all they ever do. And then somebody else comes in. I dread to think what the national debt is.
it doesn't stop at income tax, folks. She's going to get your property. Oh, you
Yes.
very well buying that property. We're going to have a tax on that specially. I know you're a pensioner, but you're very well off compared with this person or that person. She's going to have a go at that. And on top of that, wait for the inheritance tax.
Oh, that's right. I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. And again, if people have, it's a choice you make, isn't it? If people have bought a nice house and managed their money well and done it all for their children, then I mean they've negotiated their life for that end result. So now to be clobbered is, I think, entirely wrong. I mean,
Well, it's not worth building up wealth.
exactly right. It doesn't
Why,
encourage
why
you.
we might as well spend it like in I live in
Exactly
a
right.
council house. The state has to
Exactly.
look after me.
And it's the same when you I remember my dad many years ago when my grandma was talking about having to go in a care home or be staying at home and be looked after by my mum and dad and all of that. And I remember my dad saying to me, it's, when you're older, and I would only have been in my 20s then, he said, remember this, he said, don't have lots of money and a massive great house because the government will take it off you because they will take a bit, which is true. If you've got X amount, then you have to pay for the care home, blah, 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 all sorts of stuff. So it's not worth it. And that was back then. And I can't remember who was, I think it was Labour back then, actually, because my dad was always voting for Harold Wilson. But it isn't worth having money because you're just being clobbered left, right, and centre. And that in a way, what I think with what reform is doing, I mean, I think his idea about just taking all the benefits away from these people that come in on the boats is going to save absolutely billions. But if he does get in 3 years' time, 4 years' time, I think like every government, they suddenly get in and realize how hard it is to run a government, how hard it is. And there's no one really in Labour that has any of that experience of being in government before, being in Westminster before. They don't really know how the wheels turn, I don't think, and
Well,
it's
you've
becoming
got the
more and more
civil
obvious.
servants who have come out of university straight into civil
Yeah,
service,
wokey.
and they are just in the same boat, perhaps a worse boat. Move on, time's going already. I'll tell you something that's come out on the top of the pile in one sense, the education pile. Oxford and Cambridge have lost their place in the top universities.
Have they?
Yes, in the last 12 months.
Wow.
They always used to be in the top five. That's a good
Always,
thing.
yeah.
But because of the way they are run, dare I say, wokely run, and they're falling into error in various ways. And you now recommended, in order of, well, some sort of merit, go to Edinburgh, go to Durham. How about that?
My one of my boys went to Edinburgh and my daughter went to Durham.
Well, they're good. They've always been good universities. And surprisingly, the LSE. Now, that used to be
Oh,
absolutely Labour bound and extreme left, but it isn't any longer. They've actually got some people with other kind of degrees in there, but London School of Economics.
yeah.
Economics is a very good place to be at the
It
moment.
is. The trouble is that because my son could have got in there, he went to Bristol, and I mean, I've got the three boys and a daughter, and they all went to uni. My one of the two, Mike, who now works for McDonald's, he went to Leeds and he did politics. I'm surprised that Warwick isn't in that list, or York, or Manchester. Brilliant
Oh,
university.
well, I mean, they do a list that goes, but it's the top five you always look
Well,
at.
it actually is nice to see Oxford and Cambridge shoved off the top, quite
Yeah.
honestly. And when you've got like that person with, he looked like Jack Sparrow from, that guy in Oxford who was very anti Charlie Kirk, and then you've got the Cambridge and the Oxford that die now, they celebrate Eid rather than St. George's Day. I think it's unbelievable. It's just awful. And yeah, you're right. I mean, they do come out all very woke. Totally agree with you.
Well, I'll
Totally
tell you,
agree with you.
drilling down on this, we've done it. And we found out that they've been pushed by various governments. I'm going to say of different colour, but they're all the same colour if you analyse it. Certainly in the last 3 decades. Um, they're required to let poor families at a certain income level with a number of places. It's not the way to do it because you don't get the best. I'm not considering whether it's a posh house or a poor house. I just want the best people to go to the best companies, the best universities. But they've decided to go down the woke business, both Oxford and Cambridge. So they look, first of all, how many people of colour How many black can we get in this university? And they're accepting people there with A levels that you would not believe.
Oh, wow. Well, this is what happened with this guy that I said looked like Jack Sparrow, that chap with the long hair, and he was like, oh, what was it? Is it the Union or something?
Oxford Union, yeah.
Oxford Union. And people have said, how did he get in? How did he get in? His grades aren't what, his grades were worse than mine, and I didn't get in. So how did he get in? A
Yeah.
lot of people have been saying that. A lot of people have, and it
If
don't
we believe in
feel.
equality, Marilyn,
Oh,
we've
well,
got to
now let me
really
tell you,
believe in it.
I have a lady who I've been helping. In fact, I think I mentioned her about a year or so ago, and she is Nigerian, beautiful woman, beautiful, beautiful lady, and she went to Cambridge, and she came out with a one of the top grades ever for architecture, right? And recently, someone has said to her, "You only got there, and this is you only got there because of diversity, not on talent." What? Her A levels are extraordinary. Her degree is extraordinary. She's absolutely top drawer architect. Oh, she got in there because she was black. It's not nothing to do with that. Probably is now, but not then. And her graduation things and the certificates and what she got are fantastic. I mean, and she worked really hard. And I just think it's awful that people are going around saying that. Oh, you haven't got in there on your merit. You just got in there because you're black.
Yeah, yeah. And
But I don't think, you see, we got this is Tony Blair, isn't it? Everybody deserves to go to university. They might deserve to, but not everybody should. A lot of people get when they got rid of technical colleges, that was awful. That's all down to Tony Blair. There are children who absolutely shine by going to technical colleges and learning. I've said it before, learning a trade. We need tradesmen. We need tradesmen. AI cannot do what a tradesman can do. You can't, AI can't fix a boiler. It can't fix an electrical problem. It might tell you how to do it, but it can't, we need trades. And I was horrified when that happened with Tony Blair. It was the wrong advice because so many kids, you know, shouldn't go. They shouldn't go because they're not academic, if you like. And universities should be for academia, not media studies,
yes,
how
and
to brush your hair studies.
open your own nail bar. Yeah, okay. Right, we move on to our brave new world, and particularly brave new world and cyber attacks.
Mm,
Cyber attacks have affected everybody from M&S to banks, and now it's the airways, because, well, anywhere from Berlin to Brussels to Heathrow was brought to a full stop because the automatic system of checking in was sabotaged by a cyber attack. Now, people get kicks, very sick people get
mm,
kicks out of doing this, but it's happening more and more often. And this is the negative side of efficiencies caused by the computer. Not
yes.
efficiencies, it should be said, should we rechristen them deficiencies? Okay, some of the airports were better than others because they had a fallback system, a manual system, and it wasn't a disaster. But it could have been. And when it gets through to air traffic control, you can't just switch that off and do that manually.
Doesn't
You think
anybody think this might be Russia? Or is that a conspiracy theory?
it could be anything, you never prove a lot of these things. But controversially, can I say, before the Ukrainian war, most of the stuff was coming, the cyber attacks from the Ukraine. They're
Yeah.
very clever with their computers, which is why they've done so well with their drones. That's all
Ah,
right. Think
interesting,
about that.
interesting, interesting. But also on Friday over here, none of the ATMs were working, not for any of the banks. So nobody, because I can remember going into Tesco and I went like, I don't know how much money I've got in my bank. I can't check. And she know it's not just you, it's a whole breakdown right across all the banks. None of the ATMs are working. There's been a cyber attack.
Yes, and this is the question got to be answered. Have we become too reliant on the computer?
Oh, 100%. Oh my goodness me. Look how we panic if the internet's not working, if our phone isn't working, if we can't get on the emails. I mean, golly, I can remember a day when well, I'm going back yonks, aren't I? It was around about the time I think when Princess Diana died, and you had emails and all of that. And you remember the time when you'd get like, "You have mail." If oh, I've got an email, and now I'm like going, "Oh no, I've got about 100 of them in the inbox." But you just get so excited. You have mail.
Yes,
You're
it
lucky if
was.
you got five a day.
Oh, yes, life continues. Now, something we keep teasing you, but it does take a long time. A, to protect yourself from being sued, and B, while all the evidence comes in. But we've been hinting for a long time about we're going to reveal a lot about old people's
Mm.
care homes in general, and other facilities provided by both private and the state. And it will be international. It will be Europe as well as the UK. Uh, can I give another teaser? Because the difference between the mentality of Southern Europe and Northern Europe is brilliantly highlighted in what we've just found out. And again, it's a story in development. But we have been looking at retirement homes and seeing what they're really up to. And Britain is well ahead on the posh retirement homes. And they don't call them that.
No, you're talking about McCarthy and Stone and Persimmon homes and people like that.
Well, even beyond that, in that this is a special village. They're all called
Oh,
village.
yes, they're villages, aren't they? That's right. Yes,
And
yes,
you get your own house or even posh
yes,
mobile home,
yes.
usually a house. Beware, by the way, of signing up for that. How much are they going to charge you for looking after your garden?
Exactly. People, it's the hidden costs of these. It's all in the small
Yes,
print. Your what do they call management services, isn't it?
that's right.
My
But
mother was in a
let's
McCarthy and
look at
Stone
the care
place, and
you
my, my,
let's look at the care that you're going to receive. Because there's a whole world of difference between Northern Europe and Southern Europe. One of the good things maybe about Southern Europe is, oh, get on with it. Yes, I know what the law says, but in practical reasons, you've got to do things this way. Okay. Now, we never do that because we're in love with the law, especially in the United Kingdom, to an unhealthy degree. That sounds revolutionary. It's not. But we worship, and I use the word correctly, the law. And the law doesn't solve many problems. It just guides you in the right direction, perhaps. But we found an illustration of this. There is a communal dining hall that everybody gets matey and chats, which is a good thing because it's not just physical needs, it's mental needs when you get to a certain age. And if you gather round and chat to your mates, it's good. So a lot of them have a central dining hall, a central sports hall, or whatever it is. And a certain lady of a certain age went to the serving hatch because she wanted a little bit different of a dish than the normal one served, and she became a bit unwell, stood there. She finished up on the floor. Didn't do any damage to herself, fortunately. Oh, somebody pick her up. Oh, we can't do that. We have to wait for a fully trained lifter. So it took them 3/4 of an hour to get a fully trained lifter in to raise her from the phone. Now, if he should have broken everything, that could have been very serious.
well, she damaged her back. You're told not to move people, aren't
She
you?
did, being on the floor trying to wriggle in a comfortable
Yeah.
position. But in essence, if she'd have been picked up immediately, there'd have been no problems. So you think, oh, what's going on in these care homes? Now that's a posh one. And there are other things going to come out of that shortly that you will hear about. But everything is not sweetness of life if you are encouraged, maybe by indeed your families. Oh, let's tell mum that she'd be better off here. They will look after her or him. Yeah, think twice. There are other alternatives, especially in Britain.
Well, the thing is as well, if they're retirement homes where like those villages are, yes, you've got the restaurants, you've got all this. I mean, I have to say, when you see the adverts, they're all remarkably healthy 50-year-olds, aren't they? I mean, you don't see the crumbling ones on their walking frames. And that's the thing is a lot of people say when you talk to staff that people go into these places too late. They should go in younger. But when my mother was in a McCarthy and Stone place, of course you pay for that what is assisted. So you're like independent living, but the warden is there, except the warden was hardly ever there. So the boy was like, where's Fred gone? Has he not turned up again? And you're paying for that. You're paying for that. And the people at this place in Southampton that my mum went to, they were always going on about the service charges went up all the time, all the time. And people don't realize they think they're just going to buy that apartment or buy that, little house. But the add-on costs are huge. And furthermore, they're not freehold. So we found with my mum, she paid 250,000 for her flat, and it was nice. But we sold it for 240 7 years later. It didn't increase at all. It doesn't increase. That they are not what's the
They're
word? They're
not a
not
good
investment.
investment
You don't,
like
yeah,
a
they don't
no.
they don't go up with the rate of properties. They really don't.
No, and the other thing, and this most damaging of all, is that they will come to you for unpaid service charges.
Mm,
So not only have you sold your house for normally considerably less than you suffered,
mhm,
but the service charge halves the original purchase value,
mm.
which is a consideration.
Yeah, no, people really need to look into the small print and they really can really think about it before they go down that road.
Yeah. Okay, time has gone. Oh, it always does. But let me say, and this is an illustration maybe of the times we live in. Um, the Gen Z generation, or the Gen Z, if you're from the other side of the pond, um, age 35-ish and younger, are all lumped together, whether it's millennials or whatever, Gen Z we'll call them. And here we are, in the good old days, when you were buying your first house, you were looking at the area. Is it a decent area? You were looking
Hmm.
at price. Can we afford it? You're looking at the schooling in the area
Hmm.
because you want to take care of the little ones when they come along, if they've not already done so, indeed. So there's been a survey, and it's no longer that. In the Gen Z is number one. I fear not when I say this. Number one, has it got a Greggs close by? Now you think, what? Now, has it got a church? Has it got a pub? Has it got this? Has it got a decent school? Has it got a Greggs? What do
I
you
thought you were going to say a McDonald's actually, but
Well, it's the same thing if you think about
well,
it,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
um, they're interested in a quick meal so they can both get back to work very quickly. They're not concerned about children. No wonder we're down to 1 point something
Yeah, yeah.
children, except if you're a legal immigrant or an illegal immigrant, and the birth rate rises twice as that. Interesting for a settled future. Um, Things that we're going to mention in the course of the next week or so about Nigel's idea about who can stay in the country and who will go. I think there's some stonking things in there that's
Mm,
going to put the wind up many people.
mm,
And he's had the courage to come out with it now,
yeah,
well
yeah.
before the
Mm.
election, whenever that will be, even in 2027.
Well, yeah, but it's going to be interesting, isn't it? So, I mean, I just find it extraordinary that we don't have a system that can actually vote out a government. I mean, I know you could have a crisis of, what's it, when they don't like their leader, what is it they all come out and rally up and what's it called? When they're dissatisfied with the leader of the party and that someone voted out and someone
Oh
gets
yes, that
can't-
internally, you mean?
what's it called? I can't remember, but but I find it in this incident, I find it ridiculous that you can't vote them out because the damage they're doing, and we've got another 3 or 4 years of this yet. So I just don't understand how you can't just say vote or no confidence in the government. I mean, I mean,
Marilyn, let me have a word with Guy Fawkes and see what I can do. I know I didn't mean that was a joke. It was a joke. Can't make jokes these days. But
No, you can't.
going back to Greg's and the choice of our young people, the Gen Zs, you think, have we got our priorities right?
No.
In a word.
I can't believe that. Oh my God. I've only ever lived like within very, very easy walking distance from a pub. I mean, I always like easy walking distance from the pub and the church. I always think that is well, that's
Well,
the
it's
essence.
important for you. I mean, when you take the intravenous line out for the red wine, it's a factor.
But it's the essence of village life, isn't it? I love living in a village. I really do. I don't I've always have. Well, I was brought up in a city, brought up in Southampton, yeah, very nice near the Isle of Wight, New Forest and all of that. But I I just like living down this little lane where no one can find us.
Well, get to your local pub, get to your local church before both of them or either of them go, because that is happening sadly in a lot of places.
Well, I think our pub is going from, I think he's a very good landlord and he's taken on another couple of pubs. But the cost, honestly, we couldn't believe it. We went to Friday, was it Thursday night? Thursday night, yeah. Oh, and I was a little worse for wear when I came on your show. And we went out to a quiz, or the pub quiz, £2 each. Fine, easy peasy. We had a couple of drinks. We had what do we have? Scampi bites and fries. That was it. And I don't know how we got to a £70 bill.
Ooh.
But you're talking now about our pub. I mean, it's £10 for a glass of wine. It is like living in Dubai. I mean, it really is. And yet the pub's full. People have still obviously got a lot of money. I mean, I said we won't be going there again for a pub quiz night. It's too expensive.
People need
Ridiculous.
to socialize and get to know each other. They've always used the pub.
Yeah,
We're not talking drinking pubs here. We're talking about family pubs.
yeah, it is. I very sad when I see pubs go and close down because they are essential for, people do. Little old people go in there for a little lunch or they start chatting to people. They are very good for well-being and meeting up and all of that. It's a good thing for a village, I think. It's sad when you see them close down. Really sad.
And if you get desperate, you can always go to the church and you can go on their special mornings and get your free packet of rice and other things that come along.
Well, it was Harvest Festival here yesterday, so they were sort of like, yeah, it all goes to the food bank basically, and quite right, why not? That's fine, but it's yeah. I mean, food, it is getting so expensive. You go around now and you think you're not seeing, there's not a increase of 1p, or in fact, some of it's like 20p, it's gone up, and it's dreadful. You,
Uh,
you you do that on a full trolley of food.
yeah, well, yes, but we've got to go on a upbeat note of hope and kindly feelings. And
Grow your own veg.
yes,
Grow
indeed,
your
that's
own
one way.
sheep.
But whatever you do, don't give up on the word hope. There
Never.
is. And it's only you and me that can do something about that.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, I've always said that when my children were growing up, I said, never take away anyone's hope. It may be all they've got left. And this is, it's essential. Hope is essential. Oh,
Well, on that note, we will say we'll see you shortly. Lots going on that we've not touched upon today.
I know. We need to do another one because it's going to be interesting to see how this. I mean, every week it's you just wonder where this, having now made a Palestine state, what that's going to look like during the week. There's bound to be another little drama for our Starmer. That's a good one. I'm a
Yeah,
poet and I didn't know it. There we go.
you didn't know it, yes. Well, there you go.
All right then. And also never lose, no, and along with hope, never lose your sense of humor.
that's true. Where's
Very
your,
important.
listen, where do you go for your nearest Greg's?
Oh, crikey.
I'm,
Bedford, I think.
yes,
Bedford? I think it's
I'm
Bedford.
just testing. Yes.
No, 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 but now you can get Greg's sausage rolls and pie things, wraps, sort of things. You can get them now in the freezer in Tesco.
Oh my goodness me. The world's coming to an end. We'll see you very shortly.
Bye bye.